Hello, wonderful people. I'm delighted to have you in another segment of our tutorial. So, in this tutorial, basically, we'll be learning a lot about CSS selectors, various ways in which you can select an element in your DOM. Okay, so I'm going to take you in series of steps in which you can do that. So before you get started, you need to have basic knowledge of HTML and a little or no knowledge of CSS, because CSS is all about selecting elements from the HTML. So that's basically what you want to know. So if you have your text editor ready and your browser ready, so let's get it started. So let's look at the definition of a selector. Okay, so CSS selector is a pattern of element and other terms that tells the browser which HTML element should be selected to have the CSS property value inside the rules apply to them. So let's look at some types of or ways in which you can actually select an element. So you can actually select an element by calling the element name, that's the name of the tag. Then you can as well select it by giving the element a class, then you target the class. Then as well you can select it by giving the element an ID, then you target the ID in your CSS file, okay, be it internal, external. Okay, then you can as well select the elements. So basically this universal selector, what it does is it select all the elements that are in that particular file in which the CSS is being applied. Okay, then we can select your elements in group, whereby you group them and give them a specific style that will apply to those that are in the group. Then this pseudo selector is a very powerful tool, okay, which you can as well use to select elements in a very wonderful way. Okay, so we are going to see to that. All right, so basically I created a folder. The folder, I called it selector, so you can call it whatever you want. Then inside it I created an index file. Okay, so and it's an empty file. So basically I'll be using I have Emmet installed in my VS Code, so you can use any text editor you want. There is bracket, there is Sublime Text, there is VS Code, there is Atom. So anyone you want, you can basically make use of that. Okay, so since I have a VS Code and have Emmet extension in my VS Code, so I can do exclamation and hit the tab button, which will give me a HTML boilerplate. So we can basically give our title CSS selectors. Okay, sorry, I can't spell selector. Selectors. Okay, then I'll be making use of the inline styling for the sake of this tutorial. But if you're really doing a big project, you wouldn't want to do this. Okay, you need to link your CSS externally. Okay, so let's just use the style tag to do this. Okay, all right, so let me minimize this a little so that we can have our browser. All right, so let me use the live server. Okay, if you don't have a live server, if you are making use of VS Code, all you need to do is to go to this extension and you will see you can use the search bar here, type live server. You can see it here. That's the extension that I'm using. So what this basically do is once I type my codes here and I save, it pops out in the browser, so it makes work easy instead of me refreshing. So all right, so let's proceed. Okay, so I want to start with the universal selector. So let's say, for example, I have a h1 here. Okay, so in my h1, maybe I called it logo. Okay, logo, right? Then I have some paragraph which I will say this is a paragraph. Okay, oh sorry, paragraph. Okay, I don't know if it's correct. Paragraph, right? One. All right, then I can just duplicate this into 3 places. Okay, and just say this is paragraph 2, paragraph 3. All right. So let's use the universal selector. I want to, instead of doing it one by one, targeting the H1 and removing the margin, because if you look at here, you can see that it has a default, the H1 comes with a default margin. Same with the paragraph, same with the other paragraphs. Okay, so if I want to zero all of them at once, so this is really good for resetting. I do this often, so you can use your asterisks. Oops, sorry, what did I press? You can use the asterisks and target all of them. So that's how you target using the universal selector. You just zero out the margin if you want to, if that's what you want to do, the margin. I just want to remove all the margins, so you can see all the margins has been gone. Instead of doing it one by one, maybe let me just show you guys. I think you should be familiar with this. Okay, so maybe basically I want to do zero out for H1. All right, I'll say margin 0. All right, then I'll do for the paragraphs. Okay, then I'll say margin 0. Okay, so you can see this is basically the same thing that happened, but I did this in a very faster way and interesting way. So this is basically the better way to do this. So it's a universal selector depending on what you want to do. So basically I use this to reset my work and kind of maybe add a box sizing, border box, so stuff like that. All right, let's look at another way in which you can select. So we are dealing with the simple ways first. So you can also select by targeting the element, that's the tag name. Okay, so maybe I want to style the H1. All right, I can just do this and say target the H1. Maybe I want to give the H1 a color of red. Okay, color of red. So you can see now the H1 has the color of red. So that's basically how you target using the name of the tag. So if I want to target the paragraph, so you already know what will happen. I just call the P, then give whatever I want to give. So maybe I want to give it the color of sorry, I can't spell color again, color of green. All right, so you can see all the paragraphs now. So what this does actually is it targets all the H1 in the document, and for the paragraph, same thing, all of them. It's not going to, as you can see down here now, all the paragraphs are having green, so it's not being selective. You're targeting everything. Okay, so there's another way in which you can select, which is called the group selector. So what this does, let's say we have another maybe H3, and I say this, oops, this is H3. Okay, so if I want to target the 3 of them, maybe I want the 3 of them to have a color of blue. So instead of doing it one by one, since they're all going to have the same styling, so it reduces the code. So all I'm going to do is to do the grouping. I can just say H1, I'll use the comma, and I'll say P, I'll use the comma, and I'll say H3. So see, once I just give it the color, so color of blue, right, you see that all of them that are in this group now have the color of blue. So you can see it down here, right? So assuming I have maybe let's say a small tag, okay, and I say this is a small tag. Okay, so you can see that the small tag doesn't have that blue color, but if I add it to this group now, you see that basically it's going to have that blue color. So you can see it has the blue color now. So that's basically how you style using the group method. Okay, so now let's look at another way, that's by using the class. Okay, this is the common way you do things. Okay, so it's common, so you must have seen it before. So I want to deal with the common ones before I move down to the ones maybe you have not seen before. You have seen them but you haven't make use of them. Okay, so now let's look at the classes. So for you to style an element by the class, you first of all give the element a class name. So let's give this first paragraph a class name. You do that by writing class, then you give whatever name you want. Okay, you can give the name in camel case, Pascal case, or with underscore or dash. Okay, so let's just say, let's give this let me give this class para whatever, so that I'll use it to target it. So now you can see we have a whole lot of paragraphs here. So if I want to target this particular one, all I'm going to do is to use the full stop, or it's called period, whatever you call it. Down here we call it full stop, some people call it a period. Okay, so I can just say para. All right, then by doing this I've been able to target the particular paragraph that I want. You know that there are 3 paragraphs here: paragraph 1, paragraph 2, paragraph 3, but I'm trying to target paragraph 1. So trying to be specific, I gave it a class so that I can use it to target the particular one. Okay, so if I say color, all right, of let's say brown. Oops, you can't see brown very well. Let's use a shiny color, let's say yellow. So you can see that although the color is too bright, you can see that it has given the first paragraph the yellow color. All right, so we can see by doing this now we are being specific. All right, so there's another thing I want to show you. Okay, let's say for example I give this particular p tag a class of para, and I still give this h1 a class of para. Okay, so you can see that immediately the logo has the color of yellow, and the paragraph also has the color of yellow. So that's the power of classes. Anywhere you add that class, it's automatically going to take the styling that the class has. Okay, so but if I want to be specific, I said okay, I don't want this both the h1 and the paragraph to have the yellow color. I just want to be specific. There's a way I can do that. I can just to this para, I can just come and add, maybe if it's the p that I want to select to have that yellow color, I can just come and say p. So you can see by doing that, even though the h1 has the class of para and the p has the class of para, it's only the p that is being affected. Okay, it's only the p that is having the color of yellow because I'm being specific. But if it's the h1 that I want to have the yellow color, I can just come here and say h1. Okay, you can see now is the h1 that has the color yellow. So this is how you can be specific, okay, in styling using classes. Okay, the next one we are going to look at, let's look at will be the styling an element using the id. Okay, it's another common way. Okay, so but another good thing about class, okay, let me just say this before I move down to id. Another good thing about class is that you can actually add another class. So you can have so many classes. You can have para, maybe you can have another class called dan, you can have another class called u. Okay, so and basically you can just give so many stylings. You can say okay, dot u, okay, should have let's give it a border of 1 pixel, okay, and solid, 1 pixel solid. Okay, and say not, let's give it a color of black. Okay, so you can see now it has a border of class. So you can see we have about 3 classes here doing different functions. So that's another beauty of class. You can have so many classes, okay, and you style them. So you can't do this with an id. So that's why classes are very powerful. Okay, so let's look at id. All right, so now let's give this a small tag an id. So by giving an id, just use the word id and give the name you want. So let's just say this is a small text. Let's call this small dash text. Okay, so by doing this now, if I want to target it now, all I'll need to do is to come over here and use the pound sign. All right, and I'll call the small the name of the ID. That's, sorry, I call it small dash text. Okay. All right, so I can give it a what will I do? Let's give it a text transform. All right, let's make everything uppercase. So by doing so, you can see now everything down here is in uppercase. I can still give it a color of let's use blue, so you can see it's in uppercase and it's in blue. So this is basically how you target an element using the ID. Okay, so there's still more ways you can target your ID. So by doing so, now if I still want to target the ID, maybe I don't want to use the pound sign, maybe due to one or two reasons. Maybe my keyboard doesn't have the pound sign which is basically difficult. You might not see that, so you can as well target it by this way. Okay, you can do something like this, and you can just oops. All right, let me remove the pound sign, and I can just do ID equals to. So you can see I'm still left with the same styling. So this is also another way to target the ID. Instead of using pound sign with the name of the ID, you can just use this bracket ID equals to the name of that, and you basically get the same effect that you want. Okay, so let's look at another stuff. Okay, let me have another, maybe this time around, a paragraph with an ID of text green. All right, so any name, you can give it any name you want, don't mind me, I'm just trying to give it this name. So let me say this is green text. All right, so let's say now you can see that let me use the other method of targeting an ID. All right, I think that's the one I prefer. Okay, you can use any one you like. So you can see only this particular ID is being targeted. But if there is in a scenario whereby I want to target all the IDs that are in that particular file, okay, so you can see now this text is a green text. It has an ID, okay, of text green, and this also has an ID of small text. But now let's say I want to target all the whole IDs that are in this document. There's a way I can do that. I can just come here and say use this bracket and say ID, okay, and I'll just do this. Okay, by doing so now I've targeted all the IDs that are in this particular document. I can give them a color of let's say a color of orange. I don't know if orange will be bright. Orange. Okay, so you can see now all the IDs that are in this document. You can see these are the ID, this small tag and this paragraph, so they are all orange. So this is a way of targeting the whole IDs that are in the document. Okay, so let's look at another way we can manipulate our IDs. Okay, let's look at another way in which we can manipulate and select our elements using ID. Okay, so let's say for example we have another let me go ahead and use paragraph. It doesn't really matter. Let me duplicate it in two places. Okay, then let me say let me give this one an ID of address. All right, and let me give this one an ID of good what would I call this one? Let me say good is good goodies whatever. Then let me have another one and say and call this one my ass. Okay, or bad ass. All right, so now you can see we have about 4 IDs. But now let's say I want to target all the IDs that has an ID name that is ending with SS. Okay, so there's a way in which I can do that. So let's target all the IDs that are ending with ID name SS. Let's give it a border. Let's give it a border of 1 pixel solid. Okay, black border 1 pixel solid. So the way we can do that is by just doing this. We can just target it by doing this. Just the bracket. We now say the ID, and we use the $sign, the equal to. Then we now give the depending on what you want to find. So by doing this, I want to find all the IDs that ended with SS. Okay, depending on what you want to find. Okay, so I'll now target them. I want to give them a border of 1 pixel solid. Okay, and give them black. Okay, so you can see now only 2 has been targeted, which is this particular one. Let me add the text so that you can see. This one is paragraph text with address. Okay, so that you can be able to know which one. Then this one is with badass. So you can see these are the two that have been targeted, the address and the badass, because they are the ones ending with SS. You can see this particular one, that's Goodisa, and it has 2 S, but it's not the last 2 alphabets that are there, so it did not select it. So this is a way in which you can manipulate that. Okay, so let's look at another way we can manipulate again using an ID. Okay, let's look at another instance for, since we have seen for the start, let's look of we saw for the last, like index names ending with SS, maybe anything, whatever you want to find. So let's look at if we want to find them for an ID that is ending that is starting with maybe anything, maybe depending on what you want to find. So let's just start. Okay, let's say let's create another ID, sorry, and make this one start with T. Maybe let's call this text blue. Okay, sorry, blue. All right, let's say text blue. Let me just add this thing so that we'll be able to find the ones we want. So this one is with text green. All right, so now if we want to target all the IDs that starts with T, all right, so there's a simple way we can do that. We can just say something like use the bracket, call the ID. All right, then what we now do, we now use the caret. Where do I even find this? The caret symbol. Okay, I guess that's what it's called. Then we'll now do our equals to, and we'll do T. All right, if that's what we want to find, depending on the alphabet you want to find or what. Just know that doing this, all it's going to target is the first letter. Okay, all the IDs that starts with T. Okay, so let's give it a color of purple, or purple whatever. So you can see this guy and this guy are the ones that have been selected, because you can see they have the ID text green and text blue, so they all starts with T. So they are the ones that have been styled, other ones have been ignored. Okay, so this is basically how you can do stuffs like that. So let's look at another interesting one. Another interesting one is let's say, for example, you want to target all the IDs. Maybe you want to target all the IDs that have S in the ID name. You can do that as well. You can just do something like this. Okay, you just use a bracket, you say ID and use the asterisk, then you now say equals to, and you give the alphabet that you want to find. Okay, so we want to target all the IDs that have S in it. Okay, so we can just give it a let's say color of blue. All right, so you can see all the elements that have ID name starting with S are being affected. Look at this one that has small text, it's been affected. Look at this one that address is been affected. Goodies sir is been affected. Badass is been affected. So but the two that doesn't have any instance of S in it are not being affected. So this is another pretty way in which you can target an element. Okay, let's look at one other way in the IDs, and we'll move over to the pseudo classes. Okay, I don't want this tutorial to be so lengthy, but if there is more ways of selecting an element in which you want me to go through, you can comment that in the comment section below, then I will get to see it and make more video. I want to keep this video short as much as possible. So let's look at one other way in which we can select using the ID, then we'll move down to the pseudo classes. Okay, so let's say for example you want to select all the ID names, okay, that has an instance of text. So but this is going to only work if there is a dash separating the particular word. So it actually means it's a compound word. That's only when it's going to select it. So let's look at example. I think it will explain better. Okay, so let's do the brackets. Let's say ID, and let's use this pipe, okay, symbol. I will say equals to. So I want to find is the text, the word text. Okay, you can find anything like I said. Okay, then I'll now say, okay, give it a border of 1 pixel solid, then color of that black. Let's give it the black. Okay, so you can see the guys that are being selected is only this text blue and this text green, although small text has the word text, but it's not the starting point. So it all its target is only the guys that have the word text as their beginning and it's being separated with dash. That's only when it's going to affect it. Or if let's say if I remove this and just put only text, you see that this small text becomes selected. So you understand the concept. Now if the word is only text, it's going to select it. If it's starting with text and a dash between it, that's making it a compound word, it's going to select it. But if it's the other way around, maybe you have another word before separating it with text, it's not going to work. If I remove this dash, you see that this will not work either. So just take note of those significant differences. Okay, so let's move down to pseudo classes. Okay, all right, let's proceed. Let's say for example I want there are so many pseudo classes, we won't be able to cover all of them, but I'll cover the ones that I feel like you really need. Then if there are still more you want, I can still cover them. Okay, so let's say for example I want, whereby I know you have seen some things like that, when you hover over a particular stuff, maybe it displays something. So you can do that by using the word hover. So there's a pseudo class called hover. So let's say I want this particular logo to hover when I to show a background color of yellow when I hover over it. So I can do that by saying target the H1. Okay, you can target it either by the class name, the ID name, or the element name. So you can target it either way. So you use this full column, then you call the word hover. Okay, so when you do that, you now give the declarations that you want. All right, so I want it to have a background color, so background color of yellow. All right, so by doing that, you see that the effect has not been applied, but immediately I hover, you can see it shows me that background color of yellow. If I remove my mouse, it doesn't show. So it's only give the effect when I hover over it. Okay, so you can as well do same for so many other ones. You can do that for the paragraph. Okay, let me duplicate this. I don't have the energy to type. Let me do that for the paragraph. You can see this will apply for all the paragraphs. Okay, I'm not being specific here. So any paragraph I hover, you can see boop, 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 and this guy too. But if I want to be specific, I can say okay, only I want to target only the paragraph, okay, that has the word para in it. Okay, so you can see we have about two Okay, just one we have only one paragraph that had the word para in it, so you can see just this guy. So if I hover in other paragraphs, I won't get that effect, only in this one that has the para and also the logo, because I targeted the H1. Okay, so all right, so that will be it. Okay, there's another pseudo class called first letter. Okay, so it's another powerful pseudo class. Okay, let's look at what it does. So the first letter, maybe I want to style the first letter in maybe all the paragraphs. I can do that by saying P, and I'll use the pseudo class called first letter. Okay, just as the word implies, first letter is going to, all the styling I'm going to give is going to affect only the first letter of the paragraph. Did I get this right? I think it should be one semicolon. Okay, one full column, sorry. So let me give it the color of let me give something that would be obvious. Let me say yellow. Okay, so you can see now, you can see it from there. Let's say blue. I think blue should be obvious. Okay, Control S. You can still see blue. I think red should do. Let's use red. Okay, yeah, we can see red now. So you can see all the styling I'm doing. I can say text transformation, and I'll give it uppercase. You can see only what's been affected is the first letter. Okay, so you can see that I can as well give a padding right of 10 pixel. Okay, so you can see it's now having a lot of spacing, so you can pretty much use that to do whatever you want to do. There's another one called the first line. Okay, so what this one does is actually it starts only the first line. Okay, so I'm targeting all the paragraphs, so don't feel bad. I'm targeting all the paragraphs. So what this does is targets only the first line. So let's say, for example, I have to add let me use this particular paragraph. Let me target if I break it now, you notice that it won't have it will have two lines. Okay, so by breaking this at this point, you can see that only the first line is having that styling. Okay, then the second one is not. Okay, let me be very specific here so that we'll know what we are dealing with. Let me target only the P with the class of para. Okay, so that will be specific. Okay, so you can see that I added the break tag in between this is, then I added a break tag and say a paragraph. So now making this a paragraph 1, the second line. So you see that the second line is not being affected, only the first line. So this is a very powerful tool in which you can as well use to target some things. Okay, so let's look at, there's another pseudo class called first child. Okay, what this does is that it's kind of select the first child of let me write it so that I'll not confuse you. Let me say first child. Okay, so it selects the first child. So if I add this first child on this P tag, which is, it is going to select every first paragraph that is a child of any parent. Okay, so let's say now that let me remove some of these paragraphs. Okay, and create a div here. Let me create a div. So let me say div top, add a paragraph in it. Okay, and say this is a paragraph. Okay, in a div. All right, so you can see we have, this is a paragraph in a div. So you can see that it's already been affected. Okay, so if I still have if I have another paragraph here at the top, so it becomes the first child of the body, so definitely it's going to be affected. If I say this is the first paragraph of the DOM. So you can see only the P tags that are being affected are just, if I add another P here, you see, I see this is another paragraph. Okay, so if I add another p here, you see that the only one that have been affected, there are a whole lot of p here. There's one paragraph here, there's one paragraph here, there's one other paragraph here, there's another paragraph here, but the ones that have been affected is just the first. So this paragraph is the direct child of the body, making it the first paragraph of this body. Okay, so this particular paragraph is the direct child of this div, making it the first paragraph of this div. So these are the only ones that are being affected. Okay, so if I have another paragraph in here and say this is a second, okay, let me say, use the word second paragraph in a div, so you can see that it's not being affected. But if I want to target the last child, I can do that by just saying, removing the word first here and using the word last. Okay, so you can see only the last paragraph is being targeted. So you can see this is the second blah 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 of the distance, so it's only the one that is being targeted. Okay, so this is what you know, that it targets only the last paragraph of his parent. Okay, sorry, I lost count of the word I'm supposed to use. Okay, there's another pseudo class called I think last of type. Okay, it does similar thing. All right, it's actually similar. So I won't, because of time, I won't be explaining in details of what it is. But if you really want to know the differences between last of type and the last child, you can comment in the comment box. I'm going to do that. So there's another one too called first of type. Okay, so it's actually does similar thing with the first child. Okay, so because of time, let's scale through. All right, so let's say we then there's another one called nth child. Okay, because we have been able to target the first child and the last child, the first of type and the last of type. What's if we want to be specific, we want to target some other ones apart from the first and the last child? Okay, fine, there's another way in which you can do that. There's another one called nth child. Okay, so by doing this, you can now, let's say we have more paragraphs here. Okay, let's say more paragraphs. Let's say this is the third, right, and this is the fourth. Okay, FO. All right, so and let's say this is right now. So if I want to target the third, I can simply come here and say 3. All right, so oh shit, all it's going to do all it's going to do is going to target the third paragraph. Let me remove this break, this break that is here. Okay, so that I'll save. Okay, Control S. All right, so all it's going to do is going to target the third paragraph. I don't know why this thing is being styled. It's a P nth child. Okay, let me remove other ones here. All right, so that we can have enough space. So all it's going to do is going to target the third child. Okay, you can see that this is the third child, so it's being targeted. So if I want to target the fourth child, I can as well target the fourth. So I can as well do something like this. I can say, if I want to target all the evens to be red, I can do something like this. Even, you can see all the even paragraphs are having the red color. If I want to do for the odd, same thing, all the odd will be having the red colors. Okay, so these are basically how you do stuffs like that. Okay, let's look at another powerful pseudo class. There's although it's not available in all the browsers, but at least it's available in Google Chrome. So let's look at it so that you can get to know it before it gets in all the browsers. Okay, there's this pseudo class called has. Okay, let's look at how we can make use of it. Okay, let me duplicate this first. Let me duplicate this, and in this one I'm going to remove all the paragraphs. Okay, remove all the paragraphs, then I'll have a h3 and say this is a h3. Okay, all right, in a div. Okay, sorry, div, not dig. Okay, so let me kind of bring it down. So what I want to do now, I want to kind of this is actually kind of used to style the parent. Okay, so for example, I can say now I want to style only the div that has a h3 in it. I can just come here and say target the div and say has, use the semicolon and say has. Okay, sorry, has, like has. All right, then I'll now put in what I want to search for. I'll say, since it's the h3, I'll say h3, and I'll say okay, give it a background color of let's say blue. Let's give it something that we can see. Let's say background color of yellow. So I think yellow is good. So you can see we actually have a div here and another div here, but you can see this only the div that is being styled is the one that has that has a h3 in it. But if I want to style the one that has only the paragraph in it, I can remove this h3 and put the p. I can see now the div that has the p is being styled. So this is how you can style the parent. Okay, if you want to style the parent. All right, let's look at another pseudo class called after and before. Okay, so let's say for example we want to add some, actually this after and before is used to add maybe content to a particular element before it or after it. Okay, let's look at the before. Okay, let's say, so in this particular one you use the double full colon. Okay, so let's say after. Let's say for example I want to style the after. I'll style the div, this particular, all the divs, and give it some after stuff. So I will use the, first of all, do the declaration, the content. Okay, and if I want to put any other thing, I can just put something maybe like the word. You can see immediately after the div I'm having the word. Okay, so after. All right, so I can still go ahead and style. So you can use this to add stuff to anything, so after it or before it. Okay, so if I use the word before, okay, you can see what will happen before. All right, so you can see it's been added before it. So this one is being added before it. It's different from after. Okay, if I use after, I can see it's been added after it. Okay, so for the sake of time, I wouldn't want to go in depth into it, so but you understand what's happening. Okay, you use it to add something before an element, or you use the after to add after an element. Okay, let's move down to another pseudo class. Okay, let's look at let's deal with links. Okay, I've been dealing with div and paragraphs and all the rest. Let's deal with links. Okay, let's say you have an the way you write a link is by saying the word a tag, then you now put the link. Maybe let's say we just have a google.com. I don't have my internet on, so basically we won't be going anywhere. So let's just say google.com, and I say this is Google. Okay, so let me duplicate these and all right, let's say maybe Amazon. Let me use this, Control D, Amazon. I don't know the spelling of Amazon, but I'm just going to write whatever I know. Let's say this is Control D. Let's say y'all. All right, then let's call this one maybe something else and say Stacky. All right, Stacky. Okay, everything.com. All right, so let me just kind of in fact, let me add the break tag, so let me not confuse you guys by using style and say break, copy this, copy. Right, let's duplicate, let's sorry, not duplicate, oops, I don't know what's happening. All right, let me just paste and paste. Okay, so now we have about 3 links. So as this pseudo class called active. So what active does is it's when you click on a link. Okay, let me remove this, let me remove this from the let me remove this Google. Okay, let me just copy it before I remove it. Control X, then hash, sorry, pound sign. All right, so what this does is let me do the word instead of explaining. Okay, use sorry, one, I say active, and give it a color of let's say yellow, so that we can notice it very fast. Let me refresh this. Okay, when I click on this, you can see when I click my mouse on it, it kind of show a yellow color. So what this active does is that it targets only the element that the mouse is being clicked on. Okay, so that's the only one it targets. Okay, if I click on this Amazon, although it's going to, let me remove this so that we can see what I'm saying. Let me do this. Okay, so okay, basically it's targeting all the links. Okay, so so it's targeting all the links, so all of them are going to be applicable. So what it does is when the mouse is being clicked, okay, it shines yellow, so it only targets the link that has the mouse clicked on it. Okay, so what about if we want to know if we have clicked? Because if you look at this now, you can see that we won't be able to tell if we have clicked the link before or not. Okay, we won't know. All right, you won't know if we have visited it. So there's another pseudo class called visited. Okay, so visited. So by this now, if I have clicked on a link, I'll be able to know when I come back. So let's click on this Google. Okay, so let's click on it here. Click. Okay, let me go back. Click. Go back. Okay, maybe because the network didn't allow us to go, we won't be able to see if we clicked on it or not, but actually it's going to change. Let me see if I remove this from here, if it's going to be okay. Okay, so now you can see let's just give it this sign, this yellow sign. Okay, all right, so all of them is showing visited because because they are all the same link, so definitely that's what's happening. But because I don't have my network on, so everything is messing around. But just know that for you to target links that have been visited, okay, you put the pseudo class visited, so any style you give to it is going to be applied to it. Okay, so all right, so I think let's look also into there's another pseudo class called not. So let's say, for example, I have maybe I have a class of let me give it class of link. Okay, all right, then I want to check and style the links that don't have this class link. I can use a pseudo class called not. So I can do the word target all the anchor tags and use the pseudo class called not. Okay, so when I do this, all it's going to do, I'll put the name of the class that I want to find. Okay, and I'll say what this literally do is it's going to select all the whole anchor tags that don't have the class link, and it will style them. Okay, so okay, you can see that the visited ones, I hope you can notice them now. I visited Google, Amazon, and you can see that it's already showing a different color from this stacky because I've not visited stacky. Okay, so that's for that visited that I was trying to show you guys, but I don't know why things were messing up. Okay, so but let's focus on the notes that we are trying to see. So let me give this a color of okay, fine, let me remove the text decoration. Okay, let's do a different style. Text decoration, let me say none. Okay, I don't want it to have text decoration. So you can see that these guys that don't have the class of link, this Stacky, Yule, and Amazon, they don't have the underline anymore. But this guy that have the class of link is still having the underline. So if I take this class now and put it in, maybe put it on Stacky, you can see that Stacky will now have the underline. Okay, so you can see it now, Stacky has the underline. So this is basically what you can do. Maybe you want to target the links that don't have a specific class. So this particular pseudo class is very powerful to do. Okay, you can use that. So let's look at inputs. Okay, so that you can see that you can also target some inputs and do what you want to do. So let's look at an input very fast, so that we can see some other things to do. Let's look at this input. All right, so now we have an input. So you can see I can as well target this input. Okay, all right, let me add it a placeholder and say enter your username, whatever, enter username. Okay, let's save time. All right, so control S. So let's say, for example, I want to target the and style this because you can see that the placeholder is having black. Maybe I don't like the black and I want to target it. Okay, I can do something like input and do boop 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 and say placeholder, and I'll do something like this, and I'll say I want to change the color to red. Okay, so you can see now the placeholder is having a red color. So you can see now if I'm typing, the placeholder goes off. So this is how you target the placeholder if that's what you want to do. Okay, so let's say, for example, maybe when I click on this, I want it to show a green color showing that I've clicked on it. So I can use something called focus. Okay, so I can do input, right, and say semicolon focus. All right, sorry, not semicolon, that was full colon, sorry. And I can give it the outline of green. All right, so now when I click on this, oops, you can see I don't know if you are really seeing it. Okay, let me just add the border of green so that everything can align well. Okay, let me save. So when I click, you're not seeing it, maybe because of the green color. So but that's basically what's happened. But when I remove my mouse from there, you won't see it. When I click, you will see that gets off. Okay, let me see if I can use red. I think red will be okay. Okay, red. All right, let's save. Okay, so when I click, I don't know why the color is messing up, but that's basically what happened when you are using focus. Okay, so you just focus on it and oops, you get to style the, okay, you get to style it. All right, so okay, sorry, I was busy giving it a red color. I was supposed to kind of 1 pixel border. It's actually the border I'm supposed to say sorry, 1 pixel solid. All right, okay, oops, let me remove this. All right, so when I click, you can see it's kind of gets thicker, so it has given it a border. When I remove, you don't see the border. Okay, so if that's really what you want, it's a cool stuff. Okay, so let's look at something else. Let's say, for example, let me we are done with input, but there are so many other things you can do. But this, for the sake of time, I'm trying to see how I'm going to cut this so that the tutorial doesn't get so long. All right, so let's say there are other ways in which you can start. Let's say we have a div that has a paragraph. Okay, let's say it has a paragraph of Lauren. Let's just add Lauren 10. Oops, oh sorry, I spelled Lauren wrong. Lauren 6. All right, then maybe we have h3 lorem about. So this is what you use in creating dummy text. Okay, lorem 6. Let's have another, maybe the small tag, right? Let's have lorem 12. Okay, right, that's fine. Okay, so now let's say, for example, I want to, you can see that these are different elements. This is a paragraph, this is a h3, this is a small tag, and they are all inside the div. Okay, so let's say, for example, I now want to style all of them. Maybe I want all of them to have a border of 1 pixel, border of 1 pixel, the same color. So there's a simple way I can target, because this is the parent. This paragraph, this h3 and this small, they are all siblings of this div. So the div is their parent, so they are the children of this div. Then this paragraph, this h3 and this small, they are all siblings. Okay, they are all siblings. So if I want to target them now, I can just do something like this. I can say div and say all the direct children of the div. Okay, so I can say all the direct p, sorry, let's target for p. Okay, and I can do this. That's if I want to target only the paragraph, sorry, I can do this and say give it a border of 1 pixel. Okay, 1 pixel solid. All right, so you can see now that the direct p is having the border radius. So even if I have another, let's say I have another div, you can have another div inside a div. You can nest things, and you have a p here. All right, you have a p. Okay, I think this will be affected. Okay, because this is also a div that has a p. Okay, let's just use something else. Maybe let's use a control. Let me change this to maybe something like there's a section. So now you can see this is a section, and this is a paragraph in it. Let me say lorem, and you say lorem 5. Okay, so you can see there's another paragraph inside this particular div, but it's not being affected because it's not the direct child of this div. It's not the direct p of this div. Okay, although it's a child, but it's the grandchild of this div, because the direct children of this div is this paragraph, this h3, this section, and this small. These are the direct children, but this p now is the child of this section. So this p that is inside this section is the grandchild of this div. So you just understand how you can do things. Okay, so now let's look at another one. If you change this now to a plus, okay, let's look at what this does. So you can see that there is no effect on the paragraph, because what we are trying to say, we are saying we want to style only the p that are direct that direct sibling of this div. So you can see that there is no other paragraph. Okay, so if I have another paragraph here now and say p tab and say lorem, maybe lorem of 7. Okay, tab. So you can see now that this p is actually styled. Okay, so if I add another p to here, you can see that another p is not being styled because it's not the direct direct paragraph child, direct sibling of the div. Sorry, I've been talking a lot, so my head is a little bit hot. So the only paragraph that is going to be styled is only the direct. So you can see that this paragraph here, this paragraph here, and this div here, they are siblings, but what this is going to target is only the direct. So this one is only the direct sibling to this div. Okay, so there's another way we can still style. Let's say something like this. If we use this, I don't know what this is called, but you can see these symbols. So what this one does is that it styles all the siblings of this div. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, you use this particular one instead of the plus, because what the plus does is only one, is going to target only one and direct one. Okay, but this one is going to target all its siblings, so all the p siblings, so it's going to target them. So you can pretty much use this to do a lot of things that you want to do. Okay. Oh, this video has really taken long, guys, so I think let's actually end this tutorial here. Okay, at least you have learned a lot of how you can actually target your element in several ways. Okay, so please don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and don't forget to comment. So if you have any question or anything you want to suggest, or any correction or whatever it is, just comment on the comment section below and share these videos. Okay, so thank you very much. It's nice having you guys, and you'll be looking forward to see more videos. Okay, thank you very much. See you guys another time. All right, bye for now.